Hello! Today, my group and I will be presenting about cultivation theory, which explores how long-term exposure to media can shape people's views of reality. Before we begin, let me introduce our group members. First, we have our group leader, Chu Zhiqing, the group members, En Jiaqian, Hu Kaixuan, Chua Zuoen, Deng Xingyan, and Hao Pengyu. Together, we've prepared this presentation to explain what is cultivation theory. Now, let's begin with the backgrounds of the theory. Cultivation theory was developed by George Gerbner in the 1960s. He wanted to understand how watching television over a long time affects how people see the world. In 1973, he started something called the Cultural Indicators Project. This project studied thousands of hours of TV content and asked people how they feel about the world after watching TV. One of his key findings was something called mean world syndrome, where people who watch a lot of violent shows start to believe that the world is much more dangerous than it really is. Gerbner believed that the media, especially television, plays a strong role in shaping our ideas about reality, even if we don't realize it. Now, let's look at some of the main ideas in cultivation theory. First is the cultivation effect, which means that over time, watching similar media messages again and again can shape people's beliefs and attitudes. Next is mainstreaming. This means that repeating exposure to media makes people from different backgrounds think in a similar way. Then we have resonance. This happens when the media content matches what someone experiences in life. For example, someone who lives in a dangerous area might feel even more afraid after watching crime shows. Gerbner believed that media, especially TV, is like a storyteller. It gives us shared ideas about the world, but those ideas may not always be true.
Cultivation theory is a media theory first introduced by George Gervin back in the 1960s. Basically, Gervin believed that the more time people spend watching TV, the more they start to see the world like it is shown on TV. Over time, this can shape how we think about society, even if what we see is not completely accurate. At first, researchers look at how people judge facts, like how dangerous the world is. This is called the first-order effect. Later, they look at deeper stuff, like people's belief about gender roles or how much they trust the government, which are second-order effects. There are two key ideas in this theory. One is mainstreaming, where watching similar media makes different people think more alike. The other is resonance, which happens when what you see on TV matches your real-life experience, and that makes the effect even stronger. Over time, this theory grew beyond just violence on TV. Researchers started looking at things like race, aging, body image, and politics. Media was not just entertainment anymore. It was seen as a way of spreading certain ideas and values across society. Now, in today's digital world, the theory still matters, but it changed. Platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram now recommend content based on what we already watch. That means we keep seeing similar messages over and over again, kind of like digital farming. Instead of broadcasting to everyone, digital media narrowcasts, meaning it shows each person personalized content. This can lead to echo chambers, where people mostly hear opinions they already agree with, which makes media influence even stronger. So, even with some criticism, cultivation theory is still super relevant and help us understand how both old and new media shape how we see the world.
Now I'm going to talk about the key concept of cultivation theory. Basically, it suggests that watching a lot of television over time doesn't change how we act right away, but it does slowly shape how we see the world. One major idea in this theory is something called symbolic reality. That means that the media doesn't always show us life as it truly is. Instead, what we see on TV is often edited, repeated, and even exaggerated. creating a version of reality that is more like a highlight reel than the full picture. Over time, this repeated exposure can slowly shape how we think the real world works, even if it is not totally accurate. For example, if we keep watching the shows filled with crime or violence, we might start to believe that the world is more dangerous than it actually is. That's called the mean world syndrome. Not only that, the theory also explained that the heavy viewers, people who watch a lot of TV, are more likely to believe what they see on screen, compared to light viewers who depend more on their real-life experience. There are also something called mainstreaming, where people from different backgrounds started to share their similar worldview just because they are all watching the same kind of media. This can affect how people think about the race, gender, class, and society. And when someone's personal life experience matches what they see on TV, like if they have seen violence in real life before, this created a stronger effect known as resonance. So overall, cultivation theory is about how the media can slowly shape our beliefs, attitudes, and fears, not overnight, but over a long period of time.
One major critique focuses on causality and confounding variables. Early studies struggled to prove that media exposure directly caused changes in perception, as factors like gender or income could influence results. However, meta-analysis showed that the cultivation effect persists, even when controlling for these variables, shifting debates to how and when the effects occur. Another criticism targets the theory's broad definition of violence, encompassing everything from cartoon conflicts to natural disasters. Critics like Shanahan and Morgan argue this makes it hard to pinpoint a unified audience perception. This highlights the limitation of quantitative contact analysis, pushing the theories to consider active audience interpretation. Finally, critics challenge the idea of a passive audience, arguing that viewers active process media. In response, the theory evolved with the psychological process model, acknowledging that media's repetitive nature subtly shapes cognitive processes, even if audiences aren't entirely passive. In conclusion, cultivation theory has been adapted through rigorous debate, integrating cognitive psychology and applying it to modern platforms like streaming media. While challenges remain, its ability to evolve underscores its relevance in understanding media's impact. Thank you.
Let's take a look at how the theory has been used to analyze various communication phenomena in the real world. One example is how the media promotes the image of a perfect woman and suggests how women should look or behave. These portrayals are not realistic. They are carefully selected and shaped by cultural or commercial agendas. Women magazines are one example. Many covers feature white women who are smiling, wearing makeup, and pose to highlight beauty, sex appeal, and fashion. When audience, especially young readers, are repeatedly exposed to this kind of content, cultivation theory explains that they begin to see it as normal or ideal. As a result, many may come to believe that being skinny and wearing makeup are the only ways to be beautiful. This can lead to issues like low self-esteem, body dissatisfaction, and anxiety from trying to meet these unrealistic beauty standards. Followed by that, the rise of social media has brought forward key opinion leaders or influencers who now shape how people think or behave. Cultivation theory explains how repeated exposure to this kind of content affects the audience over time. We often see influencers posting about expensive goods, branded lifestyle, and luxury experience. This type of content promotes a capitalist ideas of success, where happiness is connected to money, brand, products, and appearance. For young people who see this content often, it gradually shapes how they understand the world. They may begin to believe that being rich and living a glamorous lifestyle is the only way to be happy and accepted. This doesn't just influence what they buy, it also affects how they view themselves. Over time, it can lead to social comparison, feelings of failure, and even financial stress from trying to live up to unrealistic standards.
Is the rapid transformation of the media environment. Cultivation theory is becoming increasingly diversified. Social media and short video platforms have extended cultivation effects beyond traditional television. Algorithm-driven content create highly personalized information coconuts, leading to fragmented perception of reality and making this effect more subtle and harder to detect. Meanwhile, the tempo of cultivation is accelerating. Instead of long-term exposure, viral videos or breaking news can quickly shape public opinion or even cause panic. The theory's focus has also expanded from violence and crime to social issues like feminism, LGBTQ rights, and racial equality, showing how frequent media exposure reshapes public values and influences opinions and policy. In addition, global media circulation has introduced cultural differences in interpretation. The same content, such as the Korean drama Squid Game or videos on China's Douyin, may carry very different meanings across cultures. These differences in cultural contexts make cultivation effects more complex on a global scale. In short, cultivation theory is now facing new challenges: diversified platforms, faster influence cycles, and broader issue coverage. To remain relevant, the theory must continue to evolve and adapt to the changing media environment. That's all of our presentation. Thank you.